friends, it's Christy. Welcome back to my channel and welcome to day 9 of my 2017 holiday card series. Today I'm going to be using a bunch of Lawn Fawn sets, including this brand new One in a Chameleon that was a freebie with the Black Friday sale. I'll also be using Snow Cool, Bah Humbug, a banner from Bannertastic, and a sentiment from Cozy Christmas. And I'll be using papers from the Perfectly Plaid Winter 6x6 from Lawn Fawn. So I started out by stamping my images with Memento Tuxedo Black ink on some Copic friendly cardstock, and I'm going to begin with my two little twigs or branches, I guess you would say. And for those, I'm using a series of E's. I'm using E21, E23, and E25. And to begin, I'm going to just give them a layer of the E21, and then I'll bring in my E23 to do a bit of shading, both on the bottom of the branch. Now this branch is obviously the same one, I just flipped it upside down because I wanted two different ones going in different directions. So I'm just blending out the shadow with the E21 once again. And then I'm going to come in with the E25 and I'm just going to do a few little lines and squiggles to kind of give it some wood grain texture, little knots and burls and things. For the chameleon, I'll be using some yellow greens, and I'm starting with YG00, YG01, YG03, YG05, YG07, and YG09. And I know that seems like a lot of colors, but I wanted to give him kind of a two-toned effect, and you'll see what I'm talking about as we get there. But I'm starting with the YG00 and just giving him a light wash of that just to get the colors ready to blend. And then I'm going to come in with my darkest shade, the YG09, and start to add a bit of shadow, especially right around his tail. Since it's so tightly curled, it's going to be really dark there. And then I'll do a little bit of shadow on the back of his legs and on his belly, under his chin and on the top of his head, and then a little bit down his back. And then I'm going to just blend out my colors, working darkest to lightest. So I'm using that YG07 now, just really sparingly, just blending out the edge of the YG09. And then I'll move on to the YG05 and continue. I want there to be a lot of contrast, so I'm just blending out carefully and just really right on the edge and a little bit out of the previous color so that there's room to get the really, really darks in the dark places and then have the really, really bright yellow greens on the center of his body and the tip of his face. So just continuing down, now I'm at the YG01 and I'm going to finish up almost completely with that. And then I just have a little bit of space left to go back to the YG00 and blend that in. And if you'll notice, I kept his eye and the stripes on his back more of the yellow green. I just used the lightest 3 shades for those. While I have my greens out, I'm going to color in my strings of lights. And I'm using the YG09 for some of the bulbs, the YG00 for some of the bulbs, and the other ones will be colored red once I get those out. I'm also going to color in my gift with the greens. So I'm using YG09, YG07, YG05, YG03, and the YG01, and that will give it a nice ombre effect. For my red accessories, I'm going to use my favorite red combo, which is R29, R39, and R59. I'm using the R29 to finish coloring in my strings of lights. For my Santa hat, I'm going to use the R59 to add a little bit of shadow right into the crease there. And then I will blend out with the R39 right across the brim and then finish with the R29, just filling everything in. I'll color the ribbon on my gift the same way, starting with the R59, blending out with the R39, and then finishing with the R29. And for the banner, since it is such a large area, I'm going to start by giving it a whole coat of the R29. And that's going to help the other colors blend a lot better since the paper is already nice and saturated and they can blend well. So then I'll just take my R59 and my R39 and just carry in those shadows from the outside edges, leaving the center part where the words are the brightest part. And I'm not even going to bother coloring in the white of the hat or adding any shading because I'm going to cover that up with some glitter later. Next, I'm going to take the Falling Snow from the Snow Cool stamp set, and I'm going to stamp that with some Versamark ink on a piece of Bristol Smooth cardstock. So I just prep that with my EK Success powder tool. And then I can go ahead and ink that up and press that down into place. Make sure I get a nice impression, push that down really well. And then I'm just going to sprinkle some white embossing powder over the top of that. And I can heat set that with my heat tool. I let that cool for just a minute, and now I'm going to take Chipped Sapphire and Peacock Feathers Distress Ink. And this is the reason I was using the Bristol Smooth. It's because you can apply this color really heavily on this cardstock and you still get a really nice blend. You don't get quite as dark of a color as you do on regular cardstock, or at least it takes longer to build up, but you don't get any harsh lines at all. It's just so easy to smooth because this paper has like a coated surface. So I'm just going to blend those two colors together until I like the way that they're looking. I'm going to go back with the Peacock Feathers over top and just really smooth out that transition. And while that's sitting aside to dry, I thought I'd go ahead and stamp the inside of my card. So I'm using a sentiment from the Snow Cool stamp set, and I'll be stamping that in some Blue Jay Lawn Fawn ink. It's a really nice bright blue, kind of like a royal blue. So I've got the Your Snow Cool sentiment as well as the little chameleon and a couple of little snowflakes. So I pulled the snowflakes off of the Misty and put them on a little acrylic block, and I'm going to stamp those 2 more times just to kind of accent the rest of the card. I trimmed out my focal panel with the Lawn Fawn Stitched Rectangle Stackables, and then I also trimmed out my pattern paper using the Stitched Rectangle Stackables and the Stitched Circle Stackables. I've added foam tape to the back of my pattern paper and peeled off most of them. I just left the outside pieces. And I'm going to press that down into place over top of my background. And then I can peel off the rest of those pieces of tape. And that was just so that it wouldn't stick down to my work surface. I'm going to add a little bit more liquid glue to the back of that and just make sure I line that up really well over my card base. And then when I have it ready, I can just press that down into place. I've added foam tape to the backs of most of my images, and now that I can see where I want them to go, I'm going to start with these branches and just peel off the release tape and press them down into place. I want to center them sort of low on the card because I need enough room on that top one for the chameleon, and he takes up quite a bit of space. So now that I have those situated, I can add him right on top. And I'll give him the little Santa hat to wear, which makes him look really cute and festive. I'll add little dots of Tombow Mono multi-glue to the back of the strings of lights. I'm just going to do both of those at once. And then I can just line those up and add them right to the little branches, just tucking them under the edge. And then I'll grab my little gift and pop that up on the lower branch, and that has foam tape on the back as well. For the sentiment banner, I'm going to add Tombow Mono Multi-Glue, and that way everything on the top layer is the same height. So there is that recessed area, but everything else is popped up to the same exact height, so that makes it really nice and easy for mailing. For embellishment, I'm taking 3 little snowflakes from the Pretty Pink Posh Snowflake Sequin Mix, and I'm adding 3 dots of Ranger Multimedia Matte directly to my card. I find that the easiest way to just adhere these. And then I can pick those up with my Pick Me Up tool and set them right in the glue. This is a really great glue for little embellishments like these because it dries completely matte and clear. I'm also going to take some crystal stickles and add that to the white of the hat and the red ribbon on the little Christmas gift. And I will also use it to embellish our little sentiment banner by adding it to the areas with the deepest, darkest shadows. And that looks a little bit funny right now, but as it dries back, it'll take on more of that red color and it looks really, really pretty in person. Lastly, I'm going to take some glossy accents and add that to all of the Christmas bulbs on my strings of lights, and that'll give them a really pretty shine. I'll also add it to the stripes on the back of my chameleon and also to his eye. And that is going to complete our card for today. I'll hold that up to the light so you can see the pretty sparkle and the shimmery snowflakes. And there's another peek at the inside as well. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please be sure to give it a big thumbs up. And if you like this kind of content, subscribe to my channel. Here's 2 extra videos from day 9 of the previous 2 years of holiday card series. So hopefully those will tide you over until the next one. Until then, I hope you guys have an amazing day. Thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye.